G'day guys and welcome to another one of my Digimon ReArise videos. Today we're doing a bit of a different showcase actually. We're doing a plugin showcase. These new special plugins have just been added to the game. You can acquire these through the X stages of the Underworld Dungeon. So any stage that has an X spiral 16 through 20 in the Underworld Dungeon has a chance to drop this. They are special, new special plugins that have a passive attached to them. Specifically, regeneration. I have heaps of questions about this. I don't know how much of an impact this is actually going to have on the game. I know for one, it's going to be super useful in the Underworld Dungeon, but will it be useful anywhere else? So what we're going to do is we're going to level this up. We'll have a look at its stats and what it does. Then we're going to equip it to a Digimon. We'll test it out in Clash Battle. We'll test it out in the Underworld Dungeon, and we'll test it out in PvP and see how much of an impact these new plugins are going to make. So I've got a few questions. Firstly, when we level this up, will it increase the amount of regeneration? It's 600 now. So let's see. No, it doesn't look like it. It looks like it just increases the HP. Oh, hang on. Yeah, it does. That's all right. So these go in your last two slots of your plugin. They are type specific, so you need to equip them to the correct type depending on which one you get to drop. Is it going to be beneficial? I don't know. It gives HP regeneration automatically, and it gives HP as well. It's kind of cool. It gives you a little bit of build flexibility with Digimon. Say you've got a calm Digimon. Normally the last slot, the bonus stat is tech. Now you can, if it's a tankier Digimon, you can run HP instead of tech. If you don't need a boost in your tech, you can kind of swap it out for HP. There we go. So fully maxed out. This one is giving me 250 HP and 600 automatic regeneration. Very interesting. All right. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump into Clash Battle. I'm going to equip this to one of my Digimon, and we're going to see how it works over there. Over in Clash Battle now, I'm going up against Shine Greymon Burst Mode Level 10 raid. The reason I've chosen this raid is because of the burn. The burn makes it really hard to sustain your Digimon for the whole battle unless you have something that can protect you from that burn. I've kitted out my Gallantmon Crimson mode with the new regeneration plugin. You can actually run two of these together to get double, I believe, to get double regeneration. Although it might be like other buffs that takes the highest value. That's something I'll need to test out, but I only have one of these at the moment. It'll also be interesting to find out if it stacks with other regeneration buffs. Maybe we'll test it out when we go to the Underworld Dungeon. We'll put two stacks up. I also assume that it would just take the highest value, but we'll see. Something else I want to know is, does it expire? Does it run out? So we've already got the burn on us here. So you can see we get that 600 procs before the burn damage, which is good. Kind of prevent you from getting taken out. Nice. I think it's actually going to be useful in raids like this one. Where specifically, look, I would have already been taken out if I didn't have that regeneration on me. I'll be able to get one more skill off. So in raids where there's some kind of damage over time, or you're finding it hard to keep your mons alive, it may be a good option. Unfortunately, you do have to sacrifice a slot for it. That either means you're going to be losing crit, tech, some kind of status protection, even speed if you're running it in PvP. So it is kind of a double-edged sword. But we did a fair bit of damage there to this Shine Greymon there. Without it, our Crimson mode would have been taken out a lot earlier. So definitely an option for Clash Battles. Personally, I still think that a crit plugin would have done me better there, but hey, it's an interesting setup if you need it. Okay, let's jump over into the Underworld Dungeon now, and let's try out a few of these theories that I have. At the Underworld Dungeon, we're going to test out a few things with these new regeneration passive plugins. I've put it on Lucimon Satan mode this time. He's got a fairly defensive setup. I've got him with a lot of block. I'm also running Cherubimon, the green version, good. who gives HP regeneration as well. So we can see if it stacks or if it gets overridden by a higher regeneration value. So let's jump in. I think these plugins are going to be really valuable in the Underworld Dungeon, honestly. If you're doing enough damage already, you might as well whack these on so you can survive through those harder stages. So we've got our regeneration there, and it should be doing 600. We need to take a little bit of damage here so we can see the regeneration work. Okay, I'm going to pop Cherubimon here. So we're doing, the Cherubimon skill is 1000 per tick. So if it stacks, we'll be getting 1600. If it doesn't stack, we'll get 1000. So let's see how we go. Come on, give me a counter so we can test this out. 1000. So it takes the highest value. And I assume once that wears off, it would revert back to the plugin there. Anyway, pretty interesting. So if you're running other regeneration Digimon on your team, it's probably a good option not to run these plugins. But if you're just running a standard team, it might be a good way to top up your health on your main damage dealers or on your healers actually, so they can survive long enough to get their secondary heals off. Really interesting. Really opens up the team building a little bit and your builds for your Digimon. Nice. Okay, we're going to try it out in PvP now and see if it has any value over there. And over in PvP now, I've put my regeneration plugin on my Gallantmon Crimson mode. I do have to take away some of his crit, which might be a bit detrimental, but we'll see how we go. It's good on him because he has cooldown reduction, so he'll be able to spam more skills, get more heals off, and hopefully last the match. What do we got here? Alright, normally I'd start off with a Rasenmon. Obviously I'm not going to do that because we're trying to show off this regeneration plugin, so I really want someone to dispel me. I think it's permanent though. I'm pretty sure it's permanent. Yeah, as you can see with cooldown reductions, this is actually quite good. Like, Gallantmon has had a lot of ticks of 600. There you go. Alright, it was useful there. Wasn't the most top tier team though, so let's jump back in again and try again. See if we can get a Dispeller to try and remove that effect. Okay, here we go. Alright, this is a bit of a tougher team. Let's go sub first, boost our tech up. Oh, I'm going to have to pop Rasenmon here to clear all of those damage limiters and everything. Alright, now we can go back to the Digimon we're actually trying to test out. I guess it's a good way to counteract some of the damage you get from damage over time skills, but like Merciful modes hit like 3-4k in damage. Shine Greymon burst modes hit like 6,000 in friggin' burn damage. It's ridiculous. Little ticks of 600 I don't think will be that useful in PvP. Unless you maybe you could get one that goes on your Super Taunt Digimon. That would be wicked. A yellow one to go on Heavy Leomon. If they stack when you have two of them, I'll have to do some more research on that. You could run it on Heavy Leomon with his counters and his extra attacks. Oh, that'd be nice actually. A bit of regen on your tanks. Honestly, on a damage dealer, not useful. Stick to your crit in PvP anyway. On your tanks though, definitely a viable option. Especially if you're running a bulky purple Digimon like Apocalypse jumps to mind. Because your last slot special plugins on a purple Digimon gives speed, you could replace that out if you're willing to sacrifice some of your speed for these two regen plugins. You get the HP boost and the heals, and it'll make you super bulky as well. Yeah! Look, there's heaps to play around with. The drop rate on these seems alright. I've done probably 10 full runs of the new Underworld Dungeon. I've had one drop so far. I don't know if I've been lucky. I've seen a few people on the Discord getting them to drop as well. So I don't think it's going to be too tricky to get a few of these and kind of mix it up with your teams. If you do have any of these, especially if you have two, let me know, one, if they stack, and two, if you're using them in any of the game modes. I'd be really interested to find out. Hey, I think we might wrap it up there. If you like this video, make sure you leave a like. Any of your research findings on the new plugins down below, and I'll see you in the next Digimon ReArise video. Thanks, guys. Bye!